Hello, everyone, and welcome Knicks Avenue. I'm so grateful you're here. If you're enjoying this content and would like to see more videos like this, please support the channel by
Noise
subscribing.
about a few different targets in the buyout market, guys, and we have to talk about this because right now, where things stand, the Knicks may have just found their number one target on the buyout market. Somebody who is a guarantee for them to target overall just became a much more real guy to look at, and this is none other than San Antonio Spurs forward Jeremy Sochan. As Shams Charania did announce that the San Antonio Spurs and forward Jeremy Sochan have agreed on his release to allow the 2023 All-Rookie team member to become a free agent. Sochan is expected to decide among multiple interested teams, and wouldn't you know it, the Knicks and Suns were among teams who had trade discussions surrounding the former Spurs forward Jeremy Sochan prior to the trade deadline, as previously reported on Hoops Hype. Something to keep in mind is as he becomes a free agent now, and both teams do have open roster spots. So, obviously, this is a guy who it would be very unsurprising to see the Knicks take a very, very serious look at going forwards for this position. Right now, what we have seen is Jeremy Sochan, someone who is a talented player, really fall out of the rotation for the San Antonio Spurs, and because of that happening, there were a lot of questions about him getting traded. The Knicks actually did discuss trades involving Sochan, offering Guerschon Yabusele in a deal for Sochan, but the Spurs didn't want to take on the extra year of Yabu's contract. This was before the Knicks got Yabu to opt out of that second year, so they couldn't move him to a team that would play him, as the Chicago Bulls became. And Yabusele actually did have a great start with the Bulls, which hopefully continues, because shout out Guerschon Yabusele. No reason, I have nothing but love for Big Gersh over there. But there have been a number of targets listed, but right now, at least for the Knicks, we are likely going to see Sochan be one of the biggest ones. Now, Hoops Rumors did list a list of buyout candidates, such as Cole Anthony, Chris Paul, D'Angelo Russell, Marvin Bagley, DeAndre Jordan, Kevon Looney, Kevin Love, Russell Westbrook, Chris Middleton, Yusuf Nurkic, and Kelly Olynyk. Middleton's impossible for the Knicks because the Knicks can't sign anyone who is making more than $14.1 million before they got bought out. Russell Westbrook, the Knicks have a point guard already, so that goes the same for Cole Anthony, Chris Paul, and D'Lo. If the Knicks want a big man, Marvin Bagley is a more attractive option than DeAndre Jordan, former Knick, and Kevon Looney, and Yusuf Nurkic also. Kelly Olynyk's an interesting one because he can shoot the ball in theory, though he's had a rough year from behind the arc. Obviously, the Knicks could take a look at him, though, but we've seen a bunch of people be interested in this. I mean, as we saw Let's Talk Knicks mention, friend of the show, if the Knicks are able to pick him up, the wing depth on this team is scary. OG, Bridges, Mo Diawara, Jeremy Sochan, and the matchups become very interesting, especially when you look at guys like Cade Cunningham, Jaylen Brown, Donovan Mitchell, Franz Wagner, and all the other talented wings and sort of guards. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call Donovan Mitchell a wing. He's more of a combo guard, but the point still stands. Overall, and obviously Cade's a point guard, but he's a sizable wing, so, you know. But overall, it is very interesting to kind of look at these and think, you know, he's only 22, so he could be a long-term option. Hopefully his shooting will get better, but he'd be a good pickup. A lot of people have compared him to the idea of picking up Anthony Mason, who obviously was the Knicks' sixth man. Someone who's not going to back down from anyone. An overall tough guy who really has a good feel for the basketball overall. Not going to show up with the shooting, but can bang down low pretty well and can pass the ball pretty well as well. Has a good feel for the game. Sochan is a very nice, like, low-risk, high-reward target for the Knicks to go for. And David Chabot, who is an awesome follow on Twitter. I highly recommend you go follow him. He did mention, with the Spurs officially releasing Jeremy Sochan, should the Knicks take another look at the guy they've shown clear interest in before? Keep in mind, he's averaging career lows in minutes this year and hasn't had a steady role, so the raw numbers won't tell you the full story at all. On offense, Sochan ranks in the 84th percentile in potential assists. He's also great on the offensive glass, averages 1.8 offensive rebounds per game, 88th percentile of the league. The efficiency sits around 56.8 true shooting, which has been pretty average, but in regards to the shot diet, he's completely cut out the mid-range at this point in his career and lives at the rim. 41.7% rim frequency, which is in the 79th percentile. The thing is, though, Sochan really is better on defense, and as Chabot mentioned, his defensive versatility score is ridiculous. It is a 94.3, 97th percentile in basketball, and his matchup profile is almost even across the 2 through the 5. He generates 4 deflections per game, 71st percentile. He's not a vertical rim protector, minus 2.9 rim defense, though. His creation load is low at the 45th percentile, and he's shown flashes of that or he's shown flashes that he finishes well in the non-restricted paint too, with a 54.5 versus the league average 44.4. And while spacing has always been the concern, he's hitting 50% from the left corner and 40% from the right corner this year in a very limited sample size. And that is true. Look, overall, when we look at Sochan's shooting numbers specifically, he is someone who definitely is an interesting pickup for the Knicks, because Sochan, I mean, we're going to see him shoot mostly at the rim, and that is where he is best. We've seen him not shoot. I can't wait to see it, guys. How do you feel about this move? Let me know in the comments down below. Like this video, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Have a great day, guys.
The New York Knicks might be about to pull off something that could completely shift the trajectory of their season. And honestly, if you're sleeping on this possibility right now, you're missing out on what could become one of the most strategic moves this franchise has made in recent months. Welcome to Knicks Avenue. And before we dive deeper into this breaking development, I need you to hit that subscribe button right now, because we're pushing to reach 1K subscribers. And this is where you'll get all the exclusive updates and breaking news about your New York Knicks before anyone else talks about it. The front office just got handed a golden opportunity on a silver platter, and the timing couldn't be more perfect for what they've been trying to accomplish all season long. Jeremy Sochan has officially been released by the San Antonio Spurs, and suddenly the Knicks find themselves in prime position to scoop up a player they were actively pursuing just weeks ago. Michael Scotto and Shams Charania confirmed that the Spurs and Sochan mutually agreed to part ways, making the 2023 All-Rookie team member a free agent who's now weighing offers from multiple interested franchises. Here's where it gets interesting. The Knicks and Suns were already in trade discussions for Sochan before the deadline even hit, as reported by Hoops Hype, and both teams conveniently have open roster spots waiting to be filled. This isn't some random connection that just appeared out of nowhere. New York actually offered Jericho Sims and Ariel Hukporti in a package deal for Sochan, but San Antonio refused because they didn't want to absorb the extra year on Hukporti's contract. That was before the Knicks managed to convince Hukporti to opt out of his second year, eventually moving him to Chicago, where he's actually been performing well, and honestly, nothing but respect for what he's been doing with the Bulls. The buyout market has been flooded with names like Cole Anthony, Chris Paul, D'Angelo Russell, Marvin Bagley, DeAndre Jordan, Kevin Looney, Kevin Love, Russell Westbrook, Chris Middleton, Jusuf Nurkic, and Kelly Olynyk. But most of these guys don't fit what the Knicks actually need right now. Middleton is automatically off the table because the Knicks can't sign anyone making over $14.1 million before their buyout. Westbrook, Anthony, Paul, and Russell are all point guards, and the Knicks already have that position covered. If they want a big man, Bagley makes more sense than Jordan or Looney, and Nurkic could be intriguing, plus Olynyk can shoot, which is something Josh Hart has struggled with from deep this year. But Sochan represents something different entirely, something that addresses a specific need this roster has been missing. Right now, if you're looking at the wing depth chart with OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, Miles McBride, and potentially Jeremy Sochan added to the mix, the defensive matchup possibilities become downright frightening for opposing teams. Think about having that kind of versatility when you're going up against elite scorers like Cade Cunningham, Jaylen Brown, or Donovan Mitchell. Guys who can take over games if you don't have multiple defenders who can make them work for every single point. And here's something people keep forgetting. Sochan is only 22 years old, which means he's not just a rental for this season, but potentially a long-term developmental piece who could grow with this core. His shooting needs work, absolutely, but the comparisons to Anthony Mason aren't coming from nowhere.